perspective. Yeah, from my perspective. It's my perspective. Yeah, yo, am I wrong or is it just you? Or did my life show me some things that gave me my view? And if I went through what you went through, would I be you? I don't know. That's too many questions with no answer, but plenty chances for many lessons. Am I willing to learn that it's all perception? That the picture that I paint ain't the one that you sketching? So can we disagree without drawing a weapon? Long as I can understand that it's just your perspective. Yeah, it's my perspective. Yeah, from my perspective. It's my perspective.
Another episode of My Perspective. I am filling in for the great Tila. Tall order. We've got Larry back with us. The great 30K runner Lynn. Weenie has decided to show us his appearance. And let's welcome new cast member, Antonia. How you doing, Antonia?
I'm doing good.
Okay, you're doing great. Well, it's been a while. We always try to do this when it's a while. What's everybody been up to? Lynn, what's going on with you? Tragedy or pleasure?
Well, we got a little bit of both.
Uh-oh.
The pleasure is I'm getting ready for a couple of major trips for a big celebration, 70 going on 50.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's good. Small tragedy, in case everybody wonders why I keep moving
Wait,
around.
wait. Clapping wasn't for the
Clap.
I promise.
Tragedy.
Not for the tragedy. Go ahead, Lynn.
And if I'm moving around, I'm avoiding some of the camera because I broke a tooth last night.
No. No.
I feel
Having a-
fine.
Having a chipped tooth can be a big problem. I used to chip my tooth all the time. That's why I stopped using vibrators. All right, Weenie, how about you?
Oh yeah, just been busy, working with the Legion. I'm a market technician for the Fidelis Wealth Management, so I'm just managing portfolios, doing some active trading, some long-term investing. It's been pretty busy, but it's definitely challenging, and I enjoy it. So it's always good to come on My Perspective Monday and release some steam, blow off some steam, if you will. So yeah, it's good to see you all.
The thing that you're doing, Greg, and you know what? I'm glad that I've been working with you guys getting my stuff together because
Oh, yeah.
before, what I thought about people in those type of jobs, you just cared about the money you're making, which of course you do.
Oh.
But I didn't think that people in y'all's position cared so much about how much money that we were actually getting.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You don't think about it.
No, definitely. That's our number one goal is to make sure that you're building wealth, because if it's of course the performance fees are a portion of the total account, but we just like making people money. That's the whole goal. So yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Everybody says that, but it doesn't mean it's sincere. Go ahead, Lynn.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, hold up. What do I need? Do we need to talk offline?
Yeah, we can talk offline. I'll mention
minimum
it
you
10
can work
seconds
with?
on the weekly market.
Hey, she's my referral, damn it.
Sounds good. Yeah, no.
That's the minimum you can work with, right?
Oh my gosh, Antonia, how about you? What's going on in your world?
I'm just really trying to stay out the heat, but that heat in Louisiana, ooh,
I can imagine.
I'm sweating constantly, and even with the AC going, it's like, what?
Listen, anywhere you are in this, I mean, and I don't want to just say the South because I know in some northern places, the heat, like Chicago, the heat can get unbearable. So it's not just the South. Does it get hot in Minnesota there, Greg?
Yeah, it was like 99 for the past few days. And I'm like, geez, it can go down to negative 40 in the winter and then 99 in the summer. What's everybody's temperature in your state?
Yeah, they have 3 days of summer. You guys don't know in Minnesota. They have 3 days of summer.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hot.
It's been 103 here.
Oh, man.
Look, I saw my cousin was just in town, one of them out of Phoenix. Were we talking fried egg on the concrete? And I told somebody that was not fried egg. That's called put some grease in there and fry some chicken.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's how hot it is.
And Larry, you know
Yes, sir.
this is pool night for Larry, so we got to get to it.
Well,
What's up,
yes, it
Larry?
is. Yes, it is.
What's going on in your neck of the woods, sir?
Hey, nothing major. For like the third or fourth time, I got bored with retirement and went back to work. So, just kind of part time. Part time. I'm not that bored. I went back part time, but just getting out, just something to do. That's all.
That's cool. When I retired the second time, I would not get bored with it. But yes, I do understand that sentiment. So, Antonio, what's on our plate for our first discussion today?
We're talking about forgiveness student loans.
Mm.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God. And I don't say, oh my God, in an agonizing way. You get both sides of the fence. You got people that are loving that people are getting school loan forgiveness and getting school loan stress relief. And then you got those people, you always have those people where they didn't get the relief, so they don't want anybody else to get it. And they're like, I paid back my school loans, so why can't they? You know? So let's talk to, I want to start with I always have to put this delicately. The generation that's gone to college or school before us, I want to start with you two. What do you think about it, Lynn? What's your opinion on this subject?
Um, I come from 2 points of view. The discussion centers around the forgiveness program. My issues deal with the reversal of the diversity aspect for education, period. I start from why reverse a situation that was designed to help people get to school, not because they did not merit or earn the right to go, but because they necessarily did not have the access financially to go. So I am one that benefited from those diversity programs, but I'm also one that got the fellowships because of my academic standing. So for people that have issues about the entire scenario, I think there's multiple aspects to look at. Once you go past the political decision to reverse the law, the issue I have about student forgiveness pertains to just the pure cost of going to school right now. And when you're trying to look at rebuilding an economy that was so out of work because of COVID, et cetera, changes in employment, I'm just concerned that the expectation of contributions from hundreds of thousands of people will impact the economy overall. If I can't get loans forgiven, that means I can't participate in the economy in other ways. And
That's
Very good point.
yeah, you're making the point that people have talked about how many students are in debt once they graduate. It's like you have that happy moment. Yes, cap and gown. I've got my papers. I'm good. Oh crap! I owe a lot of money. You're talking to someone who has two master's degrees, and the only reason why I have two master's degrees is because I was pursuing a doctorate, and I got three-quarters of the way through it, and I just didn't have any more money.
right,
So I had the capability to finish, but
Mhm.
not the finances. But it would always look like I didn't finish because I didn't have the capability to finish.
right.
So I totally get that. Larry,
Yes, sir.
what's your thoughts?
Oh, I'm not sure. Well, I believe first of all, I understand going to college now is awfully expensive, and but you agree to go, you apply for these loans, you get it, you agree to pay for it. You need to get off your lazy dead ass, get out there and work, get some money, pay these things back as you agreed to pay them. I mean, that's just the bottom line. People are looking for free stuff now. You need to you need to stop doing that.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah, well, it's a
There
fact.
goes
Oh,
Larry.
I got to rebuttal that. All
It
right,
is a
so
fact.
I get it. No,
There is no free ride anymore. You get your loan forgiven. Who's going to pay for that? Somebody is.
Me.
Well,
I
it's
will go ahead.
it's
no, Larry, no, I
it's
get your
everybody else.
no, Larry, I get your frustration, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I only disagree with when you canvass everybody in the same thing, like everybody who needs loan forgiveness is lazy ass, get off your ass. I get
Right,
it. You're just
right.
old guy railing. I get it. But here's the thing: loan forgiveness is not there just to say, hey, everybody get into this loan, just like your credit card companies have it, where if you pay a certain amount of money, you can get loan forgiveness. It's just because your circumstances can change. Now, that's not your fault. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. You know, the person that is going to school, paying for it out of pocket, and working a job that gets fired and can't get a job in 6, 7 months, that's a different ball game. Or the person who was being financially helped by their parents, and I'm talking about extreme measures, but I'm talking about them because I know people where it's happened,
Right.
where both parents are in a car accident. That's the end of funding for a while. There's a lot of situations, and here's another thing. You also then anticipate sometimes when they increase the tuition from the time that you started to the
Right.
time that you finish. Also, the education part, most people are not educated in how school loan works and how they read when they get it. You cannot take a 20-year-old and say, hey, here's a $7,500 refund. We've paid for all your stuff. You don't have to spend that. You can send it right back to us. Who's, how many 20-year-olds are sending that back?
Well, no, I understand what you're saying, but we're not talking about looking at things on an individual basis.
Yeah.
What this jerk off we have, excuse me, there, the gentleman up there that wants to have all this loan forgiveness,
Mhm.
he's talking about a blanket forgiveness program.
That's fine. They did
Ev-
it for rich
Everybody,
people.
now, sometimes things happen where people, they have certain circumstances where they get into trouble and they need some help. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It happens to people all the time. And you should step in and help the people that need it.
I'm going to,
You do not issue a blanket loan forgiveness and say, hey, okay, you guys did all of this, you got the benefit from it, but hey, you don't have to worry about it anymore. That is the problem.
hey, I'm going to tell you what. The last time they did a blanket, took all mine. So blanket away. But I'm going to make this comment, and then I'm going to move to Antonio. And I'm not disagreeing with you, Larry, because I get what you're saying. I'm just being me. Um,
Yep.
Oh,
the
you've never been
problem,
mean to me
the
before.
problem is, here's the problem where people get annoyed. They do it for everybody else. You do it
Right.
for banks. You do it for corporations. You do it for all that. But then when it comes to the people who are the hard workers, everyday workers, it's get off your lazy butt and get to work. You know, it's like we
I
need some of that too.
I don't think we should be bailing out corporations. I don't think we should be bailing out individuals as a whole.
Mhm.
And like I said, there are certain circumstances where people should get some help.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't.
Corporations, that's a different story. They should never be bailed out.
They shouldn't, but they are. So
But
why
they
not?
are.
Let's get
That needs to stop. That
to
needs to
stop.
stop.
But that's the thing. It's not going to stop. So don't stop it for us.
So
Antonio,
let's just make it worse and do something stupid like this.
who's it making it worse for? It's not making it worse for all the people who owe $80,000 in school
One
loans.
hundred
No,
thousand
it's making it
dollars.
worse for the people that got to pay for it.
We got to pay for it.
You know, pay for your own money. Pay for your own loan.
If everybody was only paying for their own needs, we'd be in a lot worse shape than we are now. Antonia, go ahead.
Well, I think this like low income people and middle class should be the ones that should be part of the forgiveness loan program, because some people, yeah, they go to college so they can get the education that they need to make a living, a decent job,
Right.
and try to get out of that poverty level that they were raised in. And
To get put right back into it.
Right. Right. Right.
it's I understand it from Larry's perspective
I do too.
because I have my mom, and my mom didn't finish school because she didn't have the money. And we always talk about the forgiveness program as well. Even though I'm not part of it, it's just I feel like the middle class and poverty people are the ones that mainly need this program.
I would agree.
Because you got to remember, schools not universities were not created for the middle to lower class.
No,
If
That's
you
right.
have money, you
but they aim for the middle and poverty
well,
class.
because once they realize that make a lot more money, I think the problem has become Public public universities, state universities used to be the safe haven for people who did not have the funds to go to private universities like a Yale or a Harvard or any other not just Ivy, but the other big names out there. There's a reason why Michigan State exists compared to Michigan. Michigan's supposed to be more expensive. It's a private school. Florida State. Florida State. But what's happening is you're getting these not you're getting these state schools that the tuition is almost the same as the private schools, and that's where the problem is coming from, in my eyes, Larry. Is that you are making it almost too expensive to obtain a higher education,
No, I agree. I agree. I totally agree.
and
We should
so
not be funding these colleges and universities that are charging these outrageous fees to attend there. We should not be subsidizing those. And we are. It needs to stop. It needs to stop.
But
there's a
wait
lot
a
of
minute,
things that there's a hold on, Lynn. I just want to say this real quick. There's a lot of things that need to stop. A lot of people are on the fence of why is it okay to pay a football coach $10 million, but we can't relieve 5 students of student debt? Go ahead, Lynn.
Well, that's not okay either, but that's a whole totally different subject. And we can spend
No,
hours.
it's a different subject, but it's a good point. It's like we pick and choose what's okay to spend money on, and some of the things that we choose to spend money on, it's like ridiculous.
Well, there's no reason why a college football coach gets that kind of money. Or whether it's football, basketball, whatever. I don't really care. There's no reason they should get paid that kind of money. Or a professional coach.
I agree. Well, I disagree because I feel that if someone deems that that's your worth and they want to pay you, that's fine. But that doesn't mean the people who are disadvantaged or under you can't have any perks either. Hold on, we have a comment, and I'm going to go to Lynn, and then we got to get Greg's opinion. Right. So truly, there needs to be more education about student loans in school. Start educating in middle school. We know we don't do a financial education job in public schools to our students. We already know that. We don't do a good enough job, and that's why you have people getting into the things that they get into. Lynn, what
Well,
are you going to say?
That's because they're
in
not teaching
high
them math
school,
either.
there's a math class. It's called business math. They teach about the student loans.
Yeah, but do you think that's widespread?
No.
Thank you, Lynn.
yeah, but even teaching about the student loans is like having a class on financial management at 10th grade, whatever. You can hear all of that. But when it comes time to go to school and you didn't get all the fellowships or scholarships you may have wanted, and you want to go to school, the only way to go is to borrow the money. And Larry, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, we live in a world where the value of education is often associated with the cost of that education. So when you say, you know, state schools or other schools outside of, the public schools outside of Ivy League ought to not charge what they're charging. But a lot of what they're charging is all relative to the inflated society we live in. You've got professors, you got to pay more. You've got other employees of the university, you got to pay more. Some of it is all relative. And you don't just cut the cost of going to a state school in half because how dare you have the audacity to charge students to go here. People are vying for credibility. Schools are vying for credibility.
Greg,
Yeah, so I ended up paying off $100,000, over $100,000 in student loans, and I finished that last year. My fiance Bryce, she has over $60,000 still left to go, and I can see both sides. One of them, I really find it interesting that you can't declare bankruptcy on student loans,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
you can. I can go out and loan money and
Listen,
blow a business to the ground and declare bankruptcy.
Greg is absolutely 2017. I had to declare. I got sick for 8 months. I had just bought a brand new house, and within 11 months, I was $520,000 in debt. So instead of killing myself trying to dig back out, I'm like, I'm just doing a bankruptcy. So when I did my bankruptcy, they took everything away except for my student loans.
Right.
Everything besides the student loans. I had to work 90 hours a week to pay them off, and I just find it interesting that they're not, you can't really be forgiven on them. I have some potential solutions. I'm not an expert in this field, but I'm curious on what your guys' thoughts are. What are your guys' thoughts on having like student loans just be like much lower interest? Like you still got to pay it off, but just much lower interest rate. You know, pay it off when you can, when you can get around to it, or maybe forgive a percentage of it. You know, those are some things to think about. I was fortunate enough that I could work and just work long hours for many years and eventually pay them off. Not everybody's in that situation, or maybe will be in that income bracket. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on just having like a lower interest rate, but you got to pay it off?
I think that's great because you're also looking at the fact that it depends on what you're graduating for. You know, some of those jobs are right out of the gate, you're hired. In some of those careers, it takes a little bit depending on where you finish the class or where you are. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying forgive people that owe money. Like, people owe me money. What I'm saying is, after a certain amount of time, there has to come a point. I mean, I was 6 years into paying off my loans when they said, don't worry about the rest of it. And I was happy about that. I was not complaining. Yeah, my tax dollars is now going to have to pay for somebody else, but somebody paid for me. It's pay it forward. You know, somebody somewhere is always, when you need something, it's great to have the resource. So why can't the resource be there if someone else needs it? And that's with anything. I'm a veteran. I get free medical and free, so I don't get hell bent on when somebody else is getting a service that needs a little help. Now, we're talking about student loans and paying that back, and we're kind of forgetting. It's not like you went to the 4 years of college and you didn't spend any money while you were there for 4 years, and it was all just the loans.
So
You
wait
gotta
a
count that
minute,
on top of
Leonie,
that.
just a second. Going back to what you said,
Yeah,
uh, you know, you're talking about getting medical care, stuff like that. You served in the military.
yeah,
You
and
know, being a veteran myself, you know,
and
that kind of hit me too. Uh, you're getting free medical care,
mhm.
but you paid for that.
No,
You,
well, I
you
paid
paid for
for it.
that with
Yeah,
you paid for that with
okay.
your service.
Yeah, you're telling me that, but it's
With your
me.
service, you pay for
But
that.
here we're talking about people that are going to school,
Mhm.
their choice. They took out loans. They agreed to pay for these loans, and now
No,
they want to finish school and not pay the loans
well,
back.
that's not what it is. No, see,
That's
we're
not
making
what it
that's not
is.
that's nowhere near what it is. It's not people not wanting to pay their loans. It's people. Most of the people who are asking for loan forgiveness, they've been paying their loans. It's either the loans, the money is still too high, what they have left. They're not in a position to pay it off, and it's hurting their credit because you got fired,
Right.
you don't have a job for 8 months, and haven't paid on your student loans. It's not just people saying, I don't want to pay my student loan. That's not what this is. Somebody, as with everything, somebody hijacked the narrative and made it that, and that's not even what it is.
Right.
It's people who can no longer afford to pay their loans or have been paying off their loans for so much that they're in poverty because they're paying off their loans. That's what we're talking about. Not somebody who just doesn't want to pay their loan, which is the minority of the people who are being helped. Now, I know you said I paid for it for 20 years. Okay, yeah, and the fact is, I'm still not paying for it. Okay, whether I did 20 years in the Army or 5, I'm not paying for it. Somebody's paying for it.
Right.
Somebody is paying for my medical care. Your taxes, when you pay your
Right.
taxes out of your check, it's giving me my retirement,
But you
it's
Right.
giving me
deserve
my
it. You
VA
deserve it.
compensation, and it's giving me my medical care.
Right.
Not the 20 years that I did, it's the money that everybody on this screen is paying in taxes, is what's paying my stuff. So if I can help somebody else I don't mind doing that. But again, Larry, like I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to tell you the point of it's not people who just I don't want to pay my student loans. Most of them can't. That's
And
the problem.
and that is the issue because think about it, Larry. People that come from families with wealth, they're not having to borrow money to go to school. They're,
Hmm.
it's getting paid for. People like myself, by the grace of God, I went long enough ago, but I got half when I was in undergrad and graduate school. I always got fellowships that related to at least half of what it cost me to go to school. So I didn't have to borrow as much, but I still had to borrow. If I had to borrow it in today's climate, and we're looking at what people, even those that owe now, are making. Everybody, those are folks that need the help because they've been for 15, 20 years still paying on loans. The interest rates the government charge is extremely high.
It's getting
And
out of control.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Now, are we talking about the student loan forgiveness that the government was trying to put through?
Yeah, see, there's a mix of topics being
right, there's
discussed
a
here.
Because that particular program, which is what I thought we were talking about, and that's what I'm referring to,
Mhm,
that was a blanket forgiveness for everybody that owned a student loan.
mhm.
That had nothing to do with their ability to pay or not pay.
I don't care
That,
either way.
huh?
I don't care either way.
Well, that quite
I,
honestly, I think that's part of the problem.
I don't care either way because like it or not. It's not forever. It's not like they're doing it forever. They understand that we just went through the hardest. Everybody living here has not been through anything like we did in 2020. There are still people, and I'm speaking for a person who has fully recovered from 2020. Okay, I've got everything. I've got my money. I've got my health. I've got my living situation. I've got two retirements, and I've got my part-time job. There are still people to this day that have not recovered from 2020
right.
that own stores or own shops or have their own small businesses or have not been brought back to the job that they had. I know people that were unemployed for 18 months.
Right.
And so now you're talking about a person trying to get back on their feet and work and pay back student loans on top of all of that when they went to school 6 years ago. If
Right.
we wanted to, we do it with everything else. We send tax relief, we sent relief checks during COVID, blanket relief checks. Here you go. Here's money. Everybody's going through a hard time. This is not the first time it's been done in America where they've blanketed something because of a hard situation. It's been done before. And me being a person that doesn't need to be helped by the blanket situation, I don't want to rail on people that can be helped by the blanket situation. If I owe somebody $20,000, they want to come wipe it away. Why the hell am I arguing about it?
I mean, we've got. I know some college students that have benefited from some great where folks have come in like at Morehouse and there's a philanthropist that said, I'm going to wipe out the loans for the Morehouse students from this year for so many years. The bottom line is, as Keone is saying, we got people that are we better served by not wiping it out or wiping it out and allowing people to get to engage in the economy, to begin
Mm.
to contribute to rebuilding the economy after what happened with COVID. He's right. I mean, we've got people that have, you've got folks during COVID that have still not received their unemployment dollars. So you've got folks that are really struggling. And I would say a great number of those are the ones that absolutely need forgiveness so they can get on their feet.
Hey, the government's going to find things for us to spend our tax dollars on. And if this is one of the things they want to take it for, they're going to take it for something else anyway.
Yep.
You're going to take it regardless. So if you're going to take my tax dollars and wipe off people's debts, because you took my tax dollars when you bailed out the banks, When you
Yeah,
bail out
the
some
DB
people,
Bank
and
bailed out, corporations bailed out.
I
Yeah.
agree with Larry. It shouldn't have been done, but it was done.
So does that
So
mean we should do it again?
no, that but again, you didn't hear what I said. If you're gonna take my money for to help people who really don't need to be helped, I'm not gonna be mad that you take my money to help
To
people who
help
need to be
people
helped
that really do.
by being in debt because they decided to higher educate yourself. Now, if you're in debt because you're a dope head, if you're in debt because you decided to have 9 kids, those are the people, Larry, that I don't need my tax. I don't want my tax dollars paying for. If you decided to have 9 kids because you didn't know how sex works, that's different. But if you can wipe away somebody's school debt because they wanted to get higher educated, I'm all for it. Take my money.
But
So
then people who having 9 kids are stealing your money because all the tax credits they're getting for their tax refunds for having those 9 kids.
you just proved my point. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to take my money to do something like that, I'm not going to complain about you taking my money to help people out. You
Well,
know,
I'll go back to what I said. There's some people that need help. That's fine.
Mhm.
The majority, I don't believe, do.
Even if they don't, if you want to take a school loan, take it away. It's still a
Okay,
debt.
I got my hand out. Where's mine?
Where's your school loan?
Oh, so we're only talking about school loans.
That's right.
I'm
That's what
always
that's the topic.
Okay. So only if you go get a school loan, you deserve help.
No, we're talking about for school loan forgiveness. If you have other things you need help in, you got to do a program for that. I joined the credit card program, so when I lost my job and I had 6 credit cards because I was an idiot back then, and I owed like $19,000, it all gave for game because I paid a couple $100 for this credit card program. But that money comes from somewhere because the money that they didn't recoup, you damn well know they claimed it on their taxes and got a credit.
Now,
So
see, that brings up another question. If you have a student loan, just say $60,000,
uh,
and that loan gets forgiven.
uh,
Now, are they going to handle this like any other debt that gets forgiven, where you have to claim that on your taxes and claim that as income?
Yeah, then it's just like really complicated at that
Uh
point.
huh. See, if
Like,
you can't afford to make your loan payments, how do you pay the taxes on that kind of income that you
mm,
don't have?
they
mm.
gonna do.
See, so now you're
They didn't,
evading taxes.
they didn't do that to me. So
They
they
didn't.
do
They
it to
didn't.
when my student loan got forgave.
Right. They didn't add it for income for you.
Nope, did not. And I was mad because I was down to $12,000 when they did it. I was like, "Where the hell we all at?" Or I was at 83.
I think we're uncovering some like root issues on financial education, both of the borrower and the United States government, because we need to decide where we want to spend our money. And then once we can actually decide that, then we can allocate and distribute it properly. And it's difficult because it's like I didn't vote on any of this. I'm still formulating opinions and ideas. I have no idea.
How
Mm.
many people here donate? How many people here donate money to programs that offer scholarships to colleges?
I pay a lot of taxes,
No,
but
that's not what
you
that
know,
wasn't. So this is the thing that I'm talking about in a lot of situations where we go back and forth, not us, just people in general, and they argue about the government and this, but they ain't doing nothing to help.
mm,
I'm like, I donate money to programs that give scholarships. Unbeknownst to anybody else, Keone Productions, that doesn't make any money, have given money to 4 people this year towards sponsorship for them to have higher education.
that's awesome.
So if
That's
more if more people did that, that would help.
No, I think that's great that you do that. Now, do you give it to the people or do you give it to an organization that allegedly helps the people?
I've done both because when it comes to alleged, if you donate money to any organization and you haven't done your research, that's your fault.
There you go. Yep.
They have many organizations that track programs, and they actually have a percentage on there that tells you what percentage, like Red Cross, they tell you what percentage goes back into the company and what percentage goes to aid. So you've got to make your own decision. It's the reason why I don't give to like Goodwill. It's like that guy or girl's got a lot of money. They don't buy any merchandise, they get it for free, and then they sell it.
Mhm.
So it just depends. I just think people need to. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to digress for a little bit because I think I've talked the most. People need to stop just caring about their situation.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's too many people that just care about their situation, or if I didn't get it, then this person doesn't need to get it. Because I worked hard and had a hard life, everybody should be as miserable as me. No. If there's any time that you can relieve someone of financial, because it's bigger than that. It's not just the student loan financial stress. What is the student loan financial stress causing to this particular family? The
Right.
number one cause of divorce used to be infidelity, and right now, over the last 15 years, it's been financial stress.
Financial stress.
You know what I'm saying? Speaking of financial, we're about to get into Weenie's monthly market update.
I'll make it quick. It'll be quick. It'll be on this on the topic as
It'll be
well.
on the topic. All right.
Here, let me share my screen.
You got to get your boards up. And to reiterate to everybody else, I don't think anybody here is disagreeing uh, with Larry wholeheartedly. I just have an alternate viewpoint when it comes to, and I totally get what he's saying. That's why I brought up taking my tax dollars to help the person I can't stop having kids. You do get fed up. This is funny. I shouldn't be mad at this. I was in a grocery store the other day. I had 3/4 of a basket. It was like $289. Well, the woman in front of me had two full baskets. She turns in her card or whatever. And it's like, you owe $83. I'm like, damn it. Because I'm in that weird spot where, and a lot of us on this screen are in this spot. I make too much money to get help, but I don't make enough money to be well off to where I don't need help.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the trap. All right, Weenie, you ready? Let's
All
get
right.
into Weenie's market update.
It'll be fun.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Weenie's Weekly Market Update. It's been a while since I've seen you guys last. Hello. I've been taking the CMT exams, and I actually took my final exam. It's 56 questions, and it's essay format. So it took almost 4 hours of me just typing. And what the test really is they give you like a chart or a stock, and then they say, hey, is it a buy, a sell, or a hold, and why? And you have to type out all the reasons why. Of course, there are also fundamental.
Hey, hello. Welcome. Welcome to Weenie's Weekly Market Update. We're going to talk about what might be happening in the market for this next month. We're going to talk about SoFi Bank and the interest that they're getting from student loans. And then we're going to take a quick look at some stocks that might provide some opportunity. So let's get into the charts. If I can share my screen over here. Can you see my screen? Yes? No? If not, I can do an interpretive dance of my screen the way it is right now. Okay, hey, there we go. This is our overall chart of our S&P 500. Remember, there's different rates of return that you can reasonably expect. Of course, if you invest in like a savings account, it's usually giving some pretty good yield. Depending on your savings account, it could be about 3 to 5% a year. So that means if you invest like $1,000, you would end up with $1,030 at the end of the year. So that's your savings account. If you invest in the overall market, the SPY, you can reasonably expect about a 10% return a year. So if you invest $1,000, you can reasonably expect that you should see $1,100 by the end of the year. This is one of the most widely predicted recessions, and because everybody's expecting it, the market is up quite a bit. Now, for the next month or two, we're probably just going to go sideways to slightly lower. So the real interest is actually on individual stocks. Stocks like SoFi Bank, they reported earnings today, and the stock is up almost 20%. And what we actually did was we had resistance at about $10 a share, and we dropped from there. Resistance at $10 a share, we dropped just a little bit. But then we gapped above that, And when you gap above resistance, it means sellers are trapped and you're more likely to go higher. Also, in terms of student loans, since there's no student loan forgiveness, SoFi is actually able to make more money. So the way that you can potentially trade this is if SoFi comes back to about $10 a share, it could be a potential buy point. Again, none of this is financial advice, but that's how you can profit off of student loans, or take a look at stocks that might be a worthwhile investment. They'll probably be profitable by the end of the year. They're getting strong margins, and they're getting more people depositing into the bank because rates are going up, which means you get more on your savings, and it costs a lot to borrow money. That's essentially what happens when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates. So that's just something to think about. There's some other stocks that you can look at, stocks that pay good dividends, like egg distributors, CALM, stock that pays a decent dividend every share that you buy. You get 76 cents a share every quarter. Not too shabby. So Calm, a dividend stock. DraftKings reports earnings this week, so something to look out for if DraftKings comes into like $27 a share. Could be an okay investment. Remember, the more that people gamble in the NFL, the more that DraftKings makes. So right now, there's room to run on stocks like DraftKings, stocks like Mind Medicine, MNMD. Looks pretty good to me. They're reporting earnings. Those are psychedelics and stuff like that. So just something to think about. And then lastly, I just want to touch on, there's different ways that you can make money in the market. So we were talking about our overall market. We were talking about the savings account. But bonds are actually attractive. I know I'm getting all boring and crazy. But bonds, IEF, is a ticker symbol that potentially can go up about 10 to 15% from here. And on top of that, they pay interest payments, or if you're used to stocks, it's like a dividend payment. So you get paid the longer that you hold on to this. So something to think about. I am a market technician. I'm about to get my final results for the chartered market technician exam in a week from now. But I'm a market technician for Fidelis Wealth Management. So if you want to join the fund, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty low fee, and it's a fee that's a percentage of the total account. And I'm getting more and more active with the fund. So if you're interested in that, email me at weenietrades2020@gmail.com. That's all I have for today's Weenie's Weekly Market Update. Look for the opportunity in different places. Let's get back to the show. How's it going?
Next topic. I was trying to look up this quote. It wasn't really a quote. Somebody said this in an interview a long time ago, and I could not for the life of me remember. They said, rich people clap and rub their hands together when each other gets more money or bailouts. Middle class and poor people argue when when each other are given bailouts and more money. I gotta find who said that, and I'm kind of paraphrasing. It was like rich people all get excited when they get money and help and breaks and all this. And middle class and poor people, they spend their time arguing when they're getting helped.
Yeah, focus on the right activities.
All right.
So Keone, I was listening to Winnie, and I just think that perhaps we need to throw a disclaimer out there, since we started talking about student loans, that Winnie is not advocating that you go get your student loans, pay part of the money, and invest the other money in stock. I just think we ought to throw that disclaimer out there.
You know what? That's a good disclaimer, but if I would have took my refund and at least took half of it and put it in something that would have accrued some interest, I probably wouldn't have owed, I probably could have paid back a good portionate amount of my student loan. But that's a hard thing to do when you drop $7,500 on a 20-year-old kid that lives with a poor family when your mom and dad and sister need money. It's not like I took the $7,500 and just bought watches. That got dispersed throughout the family. But let's get into some hot positive stuff. What's our next thing, Antonia?
Okay, on a less controversial topic, we're talking about music.
Oh, God.
All right.
All right. All right, Larry. No music from the 1910s. Okay.
No, okay.
All right. What's the topic about the music?
Um, and when you're in your different moods, what do you listen to?
Oh, you know what? That's a good one because I want you guys to discuss this. They always talk about when you're sad. You think it sounds backwards. When you're sad, put on sad music. To me, I always thought that didn't make sense until I put on sad music when I was sad. I was like, oh my God, I feel better. Does that happen to any of y'all?
That's sick.
It's, it's
No.
like when I'm sad and I put on like Johnny Cash's Hurt or Elton John's sad songs. When like Elton John says in sad songs, somebody's writing down the pain. Sometimes it's relatable pain. Because a lot of times when people are depressed and sad, they feel alone and like they're the only ones going through that situation. And then when you hear it put out so poetically, it actually reverses and makes you feel better. I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought it was going to make me sadder.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Keanu. It's like, when you're in a funk, listening to something that's telling the story, even where you are, allows you to feel a camaraderie with whoever the artist is. And if nothing else, it may allow you to purge yourself with the pain of what you're feeling. Sometimes just releasing that sentiment is an option.
You're right. Larry, by the way, I laughed. That joke was funny, so I did laugh. Um, but Lynn, I think that's exactly what um, I was experiencing because you don't turn on a sad song when you feel happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Larry, what do you actually feel about that? I know you ripped me. What do you have you listened to, or is there any type of music that you can go to if you're feeling down and you need your spirits uplifted?
You know, uh, when I want to be, you know, get upbeat a little bit, uh, I happen to like most of the music from back in the '60s. I think it's a feel good music. You can actually understand the words, and you could put that on even with the younger people. Uh, they may not admit that they like it, but you can watch them. You'll see them either singing along or humming along with it, or tapping along with the music because it makes you feel good.
You'd be surprised how many young people know old music.
Sure,
Yeah,
Right.
it's so
but because it is still good music.
yeah.
Now, I mean, if I just want to get perked up a little bit, I like that. I listen to music a lot. If I just want to mellow out,
Mhm.
there's one particular album that I listen to, and
Jim
it's
Croce.
no, actually, it's Hank Williams Jr.
Oh, okay.
Hank Williams Jr. and Friends, the best album that man ever did.
Mm.
And it's just if you just want to mellow out, you get a nice Jack Daniels or tequila, and seriously, you can sit down and every song on that album. And if Hank Jr. is listening to this broadcast, I want him to know that I listen to that religiously. No, it's great music.
No, I mean you're right, especially when you add the bottle. I know a lot of albums that I'm okay with that would probably be even greater. If I probably add a bottle of tequila. So I know
Well,
you're
there
thinking.
you go.
What about you, Antonia?
Okay. For whenever I'm happy, I listen to K-pop.
Mm.
K-pop. Uh-oh, that'll get Larry going.
Um, when I'm in between moods, I tend to listen to J-rock, which is Japanese rock music.
Mm.
But I grew up on the 80s music,
Oh, yeah.
the rock and roll era. God, my mom gave me all of her albums, her vinyl records.
Oh God. Somebody just said, "What is this?" I
Taylor
listen
Swift.
to Taylor Swift.
All day, every day. Taylor Swift. Been to the Taylor Swift concert all day, every day.
Every
Taylor
time I
Swift.
listen to Taylor Swift's like first three albums, I'm like, "You don't have to date everybody." But hey, making me make music.
I write music about every boyfriend.
Ah, Taylor Swift and Drake, the two whiningest people in music industry. Good lord. But hey, I love her. You gotta love her. She makes great music. Greg, what about you?
I don't listen to any music at all. At all. Yeah, I'm
You
probably
say,
What's wrong with you?
one of the. I know. I agree. What is wrong with me?
What's wrong with
You're
you?
the only person I know that doesn't listen to any music. None.
Larry, you thought
Taylor Swift in the car with Chris.
Larry, you call me weird?
Leonie, I would never call you weird.
Yeah.
Never.
He doesn't listen to
Most
music.
normal. No, none.
I'm afraid for Bryce now.
I know. I'm a psychopath, I guess. You know.
Please don't let Bryce end up on Forensic Files, please.
He doesn't listen to music. Oh no.
So
No,
you just
I listen to podcasts or nothing.
What podcast? All day long?
I mean,
are
I'm
you gonna
usually
tell me
either working.
Any music growing up?
are you gonna tell me you're an NPR guy?
Oh,
Like
no music growing up either.
he goes to sleep listening to NPR. I
I
get
played
it.
in a band, but
No.
that's making music.
No, well, I listen to a lot of music personally. I used to DJ, so I listen to a lot of music, and I happen to like it.
It's
Right.
good. No, I love music. I just
Right.
don't personally listen to music. I
But
just
you
listen
had
to
to
whatever
listen to
other people
music.
are
You
playing.
had to listen to music growing up. You said you played in a band, right?
Yep, I played tuba and trumpet.
So who was your inspiration to play music? Do
Oh,
you have any?
just it was an art credit in high school. That was my inspiration. Got
Well,
the
you
art
definitely
credit out of
didn't
the
do it in college. You don't want to have to pay. Never mind. We're off that topic.
way.
What is an overrated song from your generation that everybody loved that you just go, that song is annoying or overrated?
That's a good
Well,
question.
you've expanded it. Overrated.
Like Justin Bieber music when I was younger.
Oh, it was Bieber Fever when you were in high school, wasn't it?
Yeah, or middle school or whatever. All the girls, even some of the guys, they love Justin Bieber. A little bit cringe, but you know.
Is the music of your era established when in your high school years? Is that what's deemed as the music of your generation?
It's a good
It's your high
question.
school years, right, Larry?
I'm not a music expert.
I feel like that's what it is. I feel like people associate the music of their generation from their high school years. I
Pretty
remember,
much, yeah. I think that's when most people get into music is during their high school years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's when most people can discern what's good and what's terrible music. You start getting
So
an ear.
for me, that's when I decided what I like to listen to. But we grew up in music in my house from the time I was little. So I was listening to all kinds of music. I was being taken to musical events. So, and then when you look at the fact that I ultimately married a musician, that expanded my whole musical scope
Hmm.
as well. So I listen to music. There's no one era that I could say I'm glued to.
Well, half of us are here because of music. So, I mean,
Right, right,
there's a couple of us that would disappear off the street if somebody didn't listen to music.
right.
Uh, I don't know. What the hell were they listening to when you were conceived, Larry? Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers.
That was probably one of the songs too.
Oh, that's good.
And then I think, Antonio, you're the youngest one on here, right?
I think so. I'm 27.
27?
I'm 25.
25. Greg was conceived during These Hoes Ain't Loyal. But anyway, this show is a little wacky today. The host isn't here, and I'm here, and I just kind of ran astray. Those of you, thank you for coming. It was not played on the My Perspective channel. For some reason, I just wrote YouTube because they removed all the content and deleted the channel for community violations. And I'm like, all of these episodes are on my channel. What did we violate? I don't know what we
It's
violated.
people that the reason why they normally send those guidelines is people report the channel.
Yeah, I wrote them. Can we get a warning and show me the violation? They just delete your stuff and send
Yeah,
you a
they're
notice.
savages.
And
That's
I'm
why I have
like,
two YouTube channels. Gotta have the backup because they'll just cancel you.
Just
right?
like TikTok.
Don't even.
If you got the
Yes.
Oh,
followers on TikTok, they'll
So,
cancel you as well.
so Lynn and Larry,
No, I think you were bitching at me too much, County. That's all.
yeah.
we had all this content, and what they'll do is they'll just cut your shit off and then send you a notice that you violated terms and you can appeal, but you don't even know what you're appealing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I literally put that in there. I don't know what I'm appealing, but can you review my account and tell me why it was blocked? So just
Yeah.
I'm
crazy.
appealing. Don't know why, but
If
is
they
there
ever
a
block the
no?
main channel, I'm gonna be so screwed because everything's on here.
Wow.
Have a backup channel.
Yeah, but everything's not on that channel, So I might have to start storing the footage. I mean, the recordings again.
Yeah.
Yes. Such a pain. But anyway, thank you all for having great. Larry, go win us some money at the pool table, and then I want you to take that money and I want you to pay off somebody's student loan.
Yeah,
Have a
well,
good week, everybody.
I want you to wait for me to do that now.